Hey everyone, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. It's a couple of days since we did our work on the chipping in the backyard, and I thought I'd do my pathways while it was a nice sunny day with the wood chips, because I'm already wearing a spot around the garden beds, so there won't be any grass coming back there. The grass is starting to come back. We've been here since the end of January. We have not cut the grass once. There's a patch of paspalum there, and it's been walked on a lot. Apart from that, we don't have a lot of sun, but we also don't have a lot of grass, it seems. That's okay, happy for that. So I will take the leaves out of the little gutters that we put beside each of the garden beds. The gutters are like, 10 centimetres down. They're sort of so that the water can stay away from the bottom of the garden beds, because they do rust eventually. The Aldi ones are only just starting to rust on the inside, and I've had those for about 13 years and they've pretty much always had soil in them, so that's a pretty good run. They're about $24 each when I got them. Now they're not, obviously. These are a bit more pricey, the big steel ones, but they're also a lot stronger and hold a lot more soil, obviously. Well, not soil, landscaping, vegetable mix. So I'll get to the leaves, get those out of the gutters here, and then I'll get to the wood chips. One thing about wood chips is a rake is good for cleaning up at the end, but something like this, a mulch rake, is fantastic for collecting manure, but we don't have any neighbours with horses anymore. We only have neighbours with children, not quite the same. But this is fantastic for picking up wood chips. If you've ever tried to pick up wood chips with a spade or a shovel, you can do it if you just sort of use the tip or the edge and sort of scoop them slowly sideways or slowly up from the bottom. But if you're going to be doing a lot with wood chips, it's good to know somebody with one of these or have one yourself. They're not that expensive actually. Can't remember how much, but not so expensive. But I'm on the clock. I'm going to get ready to see a friend in half an hour, so I'd better stop filming and start moving. So I'll see you once I've done a bit more. Well, that took a little while, not too long. I found out pretty quickly that the tools I was hoping to use were insufficient, and it was better to use a stick. Not one from a tree, but I remembered I had this in the garage. That's the other painting roller stick or handle that I cut in half for the bottom of my mini greenhouse door over there. It holds the plastic down with its weight, and as you can see here, it only took, 10 minutes or so. Quite a lot of leaf litter, that's a tongue twister, which was in there carrying soil with it, sitting at the bottom of our garden beds. So we don't want them to rust, seeing as we've made the investment with all of my Christmas and birthday money for a number of years. And of course just general spare cash. But don't forget, in between, when I lived at the tropics, there used to be all sorts of things that would hide in there. Snakes and cane toads. But we don't want even snails and slugs to hide in there too much, so I don't want to make it too easy for them. But I'll rake this up, put it in my leaf litter pile over here, which could actually do with some wetter stuff. I haven't been wetting as much as I should have. It's a bit scrawny looking because we just dumped all of the leaves there on the weekend when we were chipping things and getting it out of the way for the branches coming through the backyard. But I'm happy with that for a start. I'm going to go and get ready to see my friend, and then I'll be back to it after. While we're here, I thought I'd show you a little bit about the construction here. So the slope of the land is obviously uphill that way, downhill that way. We haven't even done gutters on this side. It doesn't seem to have been a problem. We've had some rainy weeks and the rain just does seem to flow down here. That's why I've built swales around my fruit trees, so that in summer anything that hits this part of the garden beds, this part of the garden uphill, will eventually get down to here if there's an excess, or just rain in general, and it'll spill out to near where our other plants will be. This is a native Frangipani, and so is that. I grew them from seed. These are fantastic fragrance trees, and we have, I won't show you their house, but we have a neighbour directly over the back. So they're on a hill, we're on a hill, and we sort of look into each other's houses. Hopefully there's nothing important in that part of their house, but seeing as we took away the big trees here, we thought we'd put some other big trees back that will hopefully be a fragrance that our neighbours like as well. But it's quite strong and they grow tall and straight, and their roots don't seem to be a problem for facilities like easements and drains and sewage pipes. So that's the long-term plan. We might even add something to the top of the fence. And here's a little tip that I don't always remember to follow. Wherever you're putting your wood chips down, left or right, have the wheelbarrow here along the line that you want to stop at. And then even if it falls out when you're not expecting it to, the side of the wheelbarrow will actually help to keep it in line a little bit. But you can see where I've had some whoopsies anyway. But there's the approximate idea if you're not going to do the whole area that you're working in. Well, we seem to be losing the light, but there's a lot done. I'm so happy to get those muddy areas down the bottom near the fruit trees covered up. Still quite a lot of wood chips left. I might neaten them up a little bit. The pile was about that high when I started, and fairly high on that side too. I've also filled in gaps where the fruit trees, actually not so much on that side, but other ones, I've sort of bermed it up a little bit toward the fruit tree base. And I just wanted to show you something that I'd forgotten about these rakes. These mulch rakes, or muck raking rakes, are a little bit different. They're not as tough. This is a mulch rake. Muck raking rakes, the tines are not as thick. And the best way I've found to level out the mulch is actually to use this around the other way. And you just gently drag it. You can use a large leaf rake or any kind of leaf rake, but I've found if you have larger sticks in it like we do, sort of little twiggy sticks, it just collects them if you're lightly raking across the surface. And this one, it seems to just let the twigs go through. So there's a little tip, but I hope you're having fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.